The Battle of Chawinda, September 1965, the largest tank battle after the Second World War. Introduction: The Battle of Chawinda, fought between India and Pakistan from 8 to 22nd September of 1965, stands as one of the largest and fiercest tank engagements since the Great Clash at Kursk in 1943. During the Second World War, it unfolded on the dusty plains of Sialkot, Punjab, where over 400 tanks clashed in open combat, marking the climax of the Indo-Pakistan War of 1965. What began as limited conflict over Kashmir rapidly escalated into a full-scale confrontation across the international border. The fields of Chawinda became the theater where the industrial strength, tactical doctrines, and national wills of both armies were tested to their limits. It was a battle that not only defined the course of the war but also forged enduring military legacies in both nations' histories. Strategic background: The roots of the Battle of Chawinda lie in the broader strategic landscape of the 1965 Indo-Pakistan War. Following years of tension over Jammu and Kashmir, Pakistan launched Operation Gibraltar in August 1965, a covert infiltration designed to ignite an uprising among the Kashmiri population and destabilizing Indian control. When this operation failed, Indian forces counterattacked across the ceasefire line. Pakistan escalated the conflict with Operation Grand Slam, aimed at capturing Akhnur, a vital communication hub linking Kashmir to the rest of India. In response, India opened up a major front across the international border in Punjab September 16th, on September 6, 1965. The logic was cold and strategic. By attacking Pakistani territory near Lahore and Sialkot, India could force Pakistan to divert its forces from Kashmir to defend its heartland. Thus began one of the most decisive campaigns of the war, the Sialkot sector offensive, which would culminate in the Battle of Chawinda. The Sialkot sector: Geography and importance. The Sialkot sector had immense operational value for both nations. It was Pakistan's northern gateway to the Punjab plains and a critical communication hub connecting Gujranwala, Wazirabad, and Lahore. The terrain around Chawinda was deceptively flat, open, and well suited for mechanized warfare, yet it was riddled with irrigation canals, sugarcane fields, and small villages that offered defensive cover and obstructed movement. The weather too played its role: dry heat by day, dusk storms at dusk, dust storms at dusk, and limited visibilities in the morning. For India, capturing Chawinda meant threatening Sialkot, hereby unhinging Pakistan's entire northern defense line. For Pakistan, holding Chawinda means preserving its territorial integrity and preventing a deep Indian penetration into Punjab. In essence, the village of Chawinda became the fulcrum of national survival. Forces engaged. India committed its most powerful formation, the 1st Armoured Division, supported by 11 Infantry Division and elements of 26 Infantry Division. The Indian forces fielded Centurion Mk-7 tanks, renowned for its 105 mm guns and superior armor, alongside Sherman and armored personnel carriers. The Indian commanders, led by Major General Rajinder Singh Sparrow, planned a rapid breakthrough aimed at seizing Phillora, then advancing towards Chawinda and Wazirabad. Pakistan responded with the 6th Armored Division, commanded by Major General Abrar Hussain, supported by the 24th Army Infantry Brigade and the 4th Artillery Brigade. The newly raised armored reserves. Pakistan's main striking power came from its M47 and M48 Patton tanks, supplied by the United States under defense pacts during the 1950s. These tanks, though technologically advanced, were untested in large-scale combat. Chawinda would be their trial by fire, prelude to battle. Indian advance and the fall of Phillora. The Indian offensive began in earnest on 8th of September 1965 as the 1st Armored Division crossed into Pakistani territory. Moving rapidly from Ramgarh, Indian forces struck westward towards Phillora. Pakistani forward elements, caught off guard, fell back under pressure. By September 10th, after intense fighting and heavy artillery bombardment, Phillora fell to the Indians. Over 40 Pakistani tanks were destroyed or abandoned in an engagement, and the success seemed to open the road to Sialkot. Yet this advance created a dangerous overextension. The Indian spearhead, though victorious, had advanced deep into enemy territory with stretched supply lines and incomplete flank protection. Pakistani commanders, recognizing the vulnerability, prepared a massive counterstrike. Pakistani counteroffensive and the stand at Chawinda. Pakistan's 6th Armoured Division, though still mobilizing, moved rapidly towards Chawinda, establishing defensive positions along the approaches from Phillora and Wazirwali. Reinforcements poured in. 14th Infantry Division, 4th Corps, and 24th Brigade were all redirected to hold the line. Major General Abrar Hussain organized a classic defense in-depth formation, using the canal system and villages as natural strong points. On 11th of September, Indian forces launched their next offensive. Waves of Centurion tanks and infantry battalions moved towards Chawinda under heavy artillery cover. The initial assault made progress, but as Indians entered the killing zone, Pakistani Patton squadrons struck back with ferocity. The counter-attack was supported by 122 mm and 122 mm and 155 mm artillery that saturated the battlefield, creating a scene of devastation. Tanks clashed at ranges as close as 200 meters, often sighting each other only through smoke and dust. For the next 10 days, fire and steel dominated the plains. At Wazirwali, Batar, Dograndi, and Sabaspir, both sides suffered catastrophic losses. Tank crews fought with discipline and courage, often continuing battle even after their vehicles were partially disabled. Entire squadrons were annihilated within minutes. Pakistani soldiers described the ground trembling under the sheer weight of armored movement and artillery fire. The battle intensified hell in the Punjab plains. From 13th to 18th of September, the Battle of Chawinda reached its peak. India's attempts to encircle Chawinda through flanking maneuvers were met by relentless counterblows. Pakistani Pattons and artillery regiments destroyed dozens of Indian tanks, but at high cost. The 11th Cavalry Frontier Force and the 13th Lancers and the 22nd Cavalry became household names for the defensive heroism. On the Indian side, regiments like the Pune Horse and 17th Horse fought with unmatched tenacity, pressing forward despite withering fire. Both sides deployed air support. Indian Hawker hunters strafed Pakistani positions, while Pakistani Air Force F-86 Sabres and F-104 Starfighters retaliated, engaging Indian aircraft in dogfight over the battlefield. The skies mirrored the chaos below, a deadly theater of attrition where neither side gained dominance for long. By September 18, both armies were exhausted. The battlefield resembled a graveyard of metal, hundreds of burning tanks, smoldering wrecks, and blackened earth, stretching as far as the eye could see. Bodies lay amidst twisted steel, the thick air with smoke and the smell of burning oil. The fighting slowed, not from command decision, but because there was little left to throw into battle. Casualties and destruction. The Battle of Chawinda was staggering. The cost of Chawinda was staggering. India lost an estimated 100 to 120 tanks, while Pakistan suffered losses of around 80 to 90 tanks. Thousands of soldiers were killed, wounded, or captured. The human toll was immense. Both sides fought with discipline and courage, but the outcome was stalemate. The terrain itself bore witness. Craters, wreckage, skeletal remains of tanks still littered the area along after the ceasefire. Ceasefire and aftermath. This 22nd September 1965, under mounting international pressure, the United Nations broke a ceasefire. The guns fell silent across Punjab. When the smoke cleared, the front lines had barely moved. Neither side achieved its strategic objectives. India had failed to capture Sialkot or destroy Pakistan Armoured Division. Pakistan had successfully defended Chawinda, but at the cost of immense manpower and material. The Battle of Chawinda ended in tactical statements but moral victory, each side claiming success. For Pakistan, it became a symbol of defensive resilience and national unity. For India, it was a proof that its army could stand toe to toe with mechanized opponent and sustain a large-scale armored campaign. The battle also exposed the limitations of both nations' military planning, overconfidence, logistical constraint, and poor coordination between armor, infantry, and air forces. Strategic and historical significance. Chawinda occupies a unique place in South Asian military history. It demonstrated both armies, though young, were capable of conducting modern mechanized warfare on a grand scale. The battle transformed doctrines on both sides. Pakistan refined its defense in depth strategy, while India overhauled its armored infantry coordination and command system. Moreover, the battle marked a psychological turning point. It dispelled myths of quick victory and underscored that wars between nuclear-capable neighbors in which both nations would become later, could only lead to mutual devastation. In a broader geopolitical sense, the 1965 war, culminating at Chawinda, reshaped the South Asian military posture and hardened political attitudes for decades. Legacy and remembrance. Today, Chawinda is more than a battlefield. It's a memorial of endurance and sacrifice. The Pakistani government established the Chawinda War Memorial, where a preserved M47 Patton tanks and a marble monument honor the soldiers who fought and fell in 1965. Every year, schoolchildren lay wreaths. Veterans recall the horrors and heroism of those days. The open plains that once echoed under the thunder of tanks now rest in peace, green with crops and quiet under the same skies that once burned with fire. For historians, Chawinda remains a monumental study in armored warfare, a classic example of attrition defense, combined arms coordination, and the raw power of human endurance under fire. For the people of South Asia, it serves as a sobering reminder that victory in war often comes with the cost of peace, and that blood spilled on those fields must never be forgotten. Conclusion. The Battle of Chawinda 1965 was not merely a clash of machines, it was a confrontation of wills. It revealed the courage and flaws of both militaries still defining their doctrines, the cost of political overreach, and the fragility of peace in a divided subcontinent. The battle's outcome, a bloody stalemate, underscores a deeper truth. In wars fought between equals, neither side truly wins. Chawinda's legacy endures, not through triumphalism, but through remembrance. The rusted tank barrels that still pointed towards the rising sun stand as silent witness to an era where nations gamble with destiny and learn through destruction. The enduring value of restraint. The earth of Chawinda, once turned by shells and threads, now grows grain again and again. A quiet testament that time, not conquest, is a true victor.